Hey guys, a little late review tonight, but today I'm going to be talking about the movie Game Night. So, Game Night is this comedy directed by Jonathan Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, who were the writers behind Horrible Bosses and also the Spider Man Homecoming movie and the upcoming Flash movie, I believe. And they also directed that one movie, the remake or sort of sequel of Vacation. So already we already are aware that there's some talent behind the camera, so that's good to know. The movie basically follows our main character, Jason Bateman, who's this competitive dude who likes to play games, and he falls for this other competitive girl who also likes to play games, played by Rachel McAdams. And basically, they get married and are trying to make a baby and basically host a game night every once week, basically, with all their friends. And they're supposed to usually invite their one creepy neighbor who just recently went through a bad separation, who's played by Jesse Plemons, who, if you recall, is from Breaking Bad, who played Todd. And I honestly really loved his character, just the way that he acts, all stern and calm and everything, and sort of different from other characters that I'm used to seeing him playing. Honestly, I need to see Jesse Plemons in more stuff. He's awesome in the stuff that he's in, but I mean, I don't feel like I see him a lot in stuff. Maybe that's just because I don't follow him as much, but he was great in this movie. Absolutely loved him. But essentially, Jason Bateman's character's brother comes, and he's also pretty competitive. So he offers to host a game night at his house, which is sort of like this murder mystery type thing, but then it turns out to be like a real murder mystery. And so basically the characters have to go through this whole night where they have to basically solve this murder mystery, which actually turns out to be some negotiation fraud between his brother and these people and everything. So pretty standard type movie. The whole flipping of the switch really just happens is that it's sort of a game night. And honestly, Jason Bateman for me carries this movie. Jason Bateman and Jesse Plemons, I think, definitely carry this movie. They do a great job bouncing off one another, and they do a great job carrying the comedy in this movie. I mean, it's pretty standard story. The thing that really switches it up is just the whole game night premise, which I think is really interesting. As far as the other young actor who is in the movie, his character's name is Ryan, but I don't know the actor's name. He did a really good job in the movie. He kind of plays like the dumbass friend and everything, and he's just kind of going along for the ride. And then there's also the black couple. I forget that actor's name, but he also did a good job. Him and the young actress that played his wife also did a great job, trying to guess the whole time which celebrity was doing great. I mean, the movie kind of falls on a couple tropes. You get a high actor at the end, like Michael C. Hall, who played Dexter a while back, is in this movie, and they kind of do like a ride-along situation where sort of like the big bad is sort of this well-known actor, but he's in very few scenes, and then he's at the thing at the very end of the movie. It's kind of like what they did with Lawrence Fishburne at the end of Ride Along. That's sort of like what it reminded me of. So it kind of seems like a waste of that actor's talent in that one little scene. It feels like they kind of shoehorned him in towards the end. I mean, they really could have gotten anybody. It didn't have to be Michael C. Hall. That being said, I'm glad to see Michael C. Hall is still getting work, but I just think it's a waste of Michael C. Hall's talent to be in that particular scene. The same thing with Danny Houston, who was in that one scene in when they try to break into the rich guy's house. It didn't seem like it needed to be those actors in those specific scenes. I mean, those guys obviously have a great body of work and talent behind them, and it didn't seem like it had to be those particular guys for those roles. I mean, you could have really gotten anybody. So I mean, a little disappointed with that, but other than that, I mean, I like the movie. The comedy was not forced; it was delivered well, and all that. I mean, it literally went how a regular couple would expect to act if this was a real scenario, which I like that. I mean it does fall on tropes like I said, but the movie does a great job of just delivering what it sets out to do, and that's to make the audience laugh. So for that, I'm glad, and I'm thinking that they could make a sequel to this. It could be like a forced sequel, kind of like how Horrible Bosses was, but not really compared to the original. And if that does happen, I wouldn't be surprised. But other than that, the movie on its own stands pretty well. But do I think it will be the top earner at the box office this weekend? Probably not. But I think it's a good comedy that everyone can enjoy. I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely give it at least a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a well-rounded comedy, but like I said, falls on those tropes which you can kind of notice. But other than that, it's great time had by all for anyone who is a Jason Bateman fan or definitely a fan of the director's work, who I think definitely have some great talent behind the camera and definitely have a great time bouncing the comedy off their other actors. So let me know what you guys thought about Game Night. I will see what movie I can do next. I had planned to see Annihilation, but this just came up just because that this movie was closer to my local theater, so I had to take this one because Annihilation was farther away. But I will see what my next movie review will be. My next review, I know, will be The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 11, which will focus on the aftermath of our cliffhanger of Carl, so we'll have to go into that. So that will be this coming Sunday, so definitely watch out for that. But let me know what you guys thought about Game Night. Is there a particular comedy that you compare this movie to? Do you think that this movie will get a sequel? I'm still thinking yes, because if this movie makes a decent amount of money, it can get a sequel, despite whether or not reviews are good for it. And I'm not really 100% sure on reviews yet. It hasn't come out on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't expect the critics to be generally kind to this movie. I could honestly see it getting like a 46-50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of average for a comedy like this, but I don't expect it getting within like Black Panther's range, which is like a 97. And even at that, it doesn't really necessarily deserve that, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys thought about Game Night, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.